Tell you what, there's nothing more frustrating than somebody calling you 20 minutes into a review just to tell you something that they could have easily texted you about. So this is a redo. I'm Mason the Brock Henderson, and quick disclaimer, I am recovering from a sinus infection, so if I cough or you see me wiping my nose or something like that, it's why. It's still affecting me. And it really didn't help today because constantly slapping myself in the forehead because of how many just really bad decisions there were from the referee. And I know it seems like I complain about the referees a lot, but these were really bad calls. And I mean, there were two standout bad calls, and one for each side. First of all, the decision not to give Costa a second yellow for the dive. It was a horrendous dive, really, really bad. Deserves a second yellow. And I'll talk about Costa in a second and all of that stuff, but why? Why not give him a yellow? Like, I'm trying to understand, because there was no contact. He clearly went down, and it was just bizarre. I'm just like, that deserves a yellow. I'm a Chelsea fan, but that deserves a yellow. And then there was the one, a few minutes later, cross comes into the box, Cathcart's hand is out here, ball hits it clearly, and no penalty. I'm just like, how can you not see this stuff? Like, it's just so obvious. How are you not seeing any of this? And if I'm being honest, it's not just that. I'm really frustrated with how one-sided a lot of the calls were today, because the two main missed calls were one for each side, but there were several really small calls that went mainly Watford's way. Like, you see one guy go down over an easy challenge for Watford, up, tweet, foul. You see a Chelsea player get shoved from behind or something, no call. Play goes on. And it happened several times, and there was one in particular where Hazard went and poked the ball away, and Capu caught him on the top of the foot with his studs. And Hazard goes down, no call. He just lets the play go on. The Chelsea players have to kick it out because Hazard's down hurt. I'm just like, how are you missing this stuff? How do you not see, not how are you missing it, how are you calling it one way but not calling it the other? So how are you only missing it whenever it happens to Chelsea, but you're calling all these little, some of them non-fouls on Watford, or for Watford? It just didn't make any sense to me. And I guess, part of that is maybe because it's at Watford, so every single time a Watford player goes down, you hear a bunch of yelling in your ear. Maybe you're tempted to call it. But in my opinion, we have these rules in place now where we're protecting the referees. Like, we have to treat them like little kids now. You can't yell at them. And yet, they're going to get away with stuff like this? They're going to get away with one-sided calls? No, you should improve your game. If there are rules being made to protect you, to make it to where you pretty much get free reign to make whatever calls you want and nobody questions you for it, you should not be making the same stupid calls over and over again. You should do better. You should do more to make yourself better so you don't make the same mistakes. So that's my overall frustration. Done ranting about the referees. On to the game itself. Overall, good performance. It was, once again, they dominated the play. But because Watford had a bit more going into the attack than West Ham did, they really highlighted our weakness, which is the defense. And I personally feel that some of this blame can be put onto Conte just a little bit. One, I think his decision to start Pedro was wrong. I don't know if Willian's hurt. I guess he is. I haven't heard anything about him, but why Pedro? He was one of the few players in the game against West Ham that I thought didn't do anything to impress. Just didn't have a good game. And this is a game where Ivanovic and Cahill even had a good game, and Pedro came out off the bench and didn't do anything. And today, again, he didn't do anything. He just doesn't have the strength to do it. And at times he'll do something good. He'll send in a good ball every now and then, but overall he's just kind of a non-player whenever you look at his entire performance. So that was frustrating. His decision to play Oscar over Fabregas again, I want to find out what happened with Fabregas because this is 2 games in a row now that he hasn't started. Chelsea offered Fabregas to several clubs, all of which rejected him. And after the game against West Ham, apparently he was in a little group of players that had to do extra training after the game. What did he do to upset Conte? Because clearly he did something, and we're not hearing what it was. So, yeah, I'm interested about that. But Oscar, I thought, didn't really do much today. His main thing that he has going for him is that he's very good defensively for an attacking mid. Like, he puts in a lot of good challenges. He works hard to win the ball back. But attacking-wise, he doesn't provide a whole lot. And that's what we needed from him today, because when you've got Matic and when you've got N'Golo out there, they're the ones that are going to be doing a lot of the defensive work. You should be the one creating chances. You should be the one creating that killer through pass that's going to cut the defense apart. He didn't do any of that today. So, very disappointing from him. But he didn't have a bad game as compared to, Pedro and then the other two, which I'm not going to blame on Conte just because I don't know about his options. I feel like he should have better options, but it's, of course, Ivanovic and Cahill. I'm so sick of having to watch them play because it's getting to a point now where they really are poor. Really, really poor defenders. You've got Ivanovic, who his one strength 2 years ago, whenever we won the title, he was a great attacking defender. He got up in the play. He sometimes delivered in a good cross, but he was constantly there providing the width. Sometimes he got into the box, had a great shot or a great header. He's not doing any of that, and his defense has gotten even worse. Sometimes he doesn't work back. Sometimes he is too slow. He's just overall not a good defender, and then doesn't do anything on the attack either, so now he's just worthless. I don't even know why he's out there. I feel like Aina would at least be a better choice than him right now. And then Cahill, he'll put in a good challenge every now and then, but he's such a dangerous defender because he tries to dribble up out of the back sometimes. He tries to do some stupid pass that almost gets picked off. He puts in a really bad challenge at a time whenever he needs to just stand up the play. He makes so many poor decisions. I'm just like, do we really not have anybody? Could we not put Matic back there in defense? Maybe. Where are the other youngsters? You've got Miazga still, right? Why not try him? We don't have any other youngsters to try. Chalobah looks like a pretty good defensive mid. Why don't we try him in the back? Or, like I said, Matic back there, Chalobah where he is. I just don't understand how we don't have any better options than Cahill and Ivanovic. That's my main frustration right now. So, overall, not the worst thing ever, but they are not good. They are very clearly our worst players on the field. So, at this point, I'm just like, we need to go sign some defenders. I'll take anybody. Not anybody. I don't want Sacco from Liverpool. He's awful. So, yeah. Those are my two main frustrations with today's game. And I guess one other frustration from Conte, if I'm being honest, is I felt like we should have gone with 2 strikers from the beginning because it worked so well against West Ham, and when he did it today, it worked so well again. And, it can be argued that the only reason it worked so well when it did was because it was late on in the game. They're already tired. The defense has been working hard all day, so now they're tired, so now it works out for them. I understand that, but at the same time, I think, why not give it a go? Batshuayi's working so hard. I want to see him get a chance to work alongside Costa. So, anyway, individual performances starting from the back, aside from the ones that I've already mentioned. Terry, once again, so good at what he does. It's so funny to hear the announcers and the commentators talking about him, and then go online and read all these people like, oh, Terry's too old, he can't keep doing this, he can't keep, doing what he does. And every game he just goes out there and does what he does. And I'm just like, are you people not watching him? Like, every time Cahill makes a mistake, Terry's there to clean it up. Every time somebody's about to take a shot, Terry's body is like a wall right in front of them. He just does his defensive duties so well. And I'm just like, I feel like he could do this into his early 40s. Just He doesn't have to be as physically fit as he was when he was 20 something. He could just be there. That's what he does so well. He puts himself in a good position. So, and then Aspilicueta alongside him always does a great job. And it makes me wonder why not put Aspilicueta with Cahill because he's good and he's not, and then Terry with Ivanovic because he's good and he's not. It makes me wonder why we're putting all of our good defenders on one side and all our bad defenders on the other side. Because what ends up happening is that Watford will just attack our right side. And Terry and Aspilicueta won't see much of the ball because it just keeps coming down this side because they know that's the side to attack. So that's the defense. Into the midfield, N'Golo Kante, he does what he does so well. It's really hard to say that he has a great game or a bad game. He just always has a good game. He's always in a good position. He doesn't necessarily do anything, assist or goal wise. He doesn't necessarily put in the last-ditch tackles that you'll see from Terry. But he's always just in a good position to win the ball back or slow down the other team's counterattack or possibly start our counterattack. So, yeah, I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing from him so far. Can't wait to see what else he's going to do this season. Up into the midfield, I already talked about Oscar. Matic, I thought, had an okay game. Better defensively than what I have been seeing, but the position that he's in, I believe Conte wants him working up and down the field, so he needs to improve his attacking part of the game better, because right now his passes aren't that great. They aren't the killer passes that you want from your midfielder, and he doesn't really provide much attacking threat overall. At times he'll have that one good run through the defense, but he doesn't do it enough to justify him being in that position. So I want to see more out of him in the attack. And then Hazard on the other wing. I already talked about Pedro. He always he puts himself in a position that he's just a danger to the defense. He always is in a good position. Whenever he picks up the ball, he's threatening the defense. And it's getting to the point now where, once again, teams are double and triple marking him. So you see all these Watford players closing down Hazard. The problem is, because he's got Oscar, and then Pedro, and then Matic, and Costa at times, he doesn't really have that great of options to choose from. He doesn't have, I'm going to find Fabregas. Like, later on in the game when Fabregas comes on, you could see how much it changed, that now he's got Fabregas as an outlet who can play a great ball in or something along those lines. Whereas early on in the game, he's bringing all these players over, opening up space for Oscar, who then dribbles into pressure. Or opening up space for Pedro, who then crosses out of bounds. The players around him, I think, were his main problem in the first half. After the changes happened, he looked so much better. He created a lot more. And on top of that, if you have other great players around Hazard, now the three players that they sent over to mark him now also have to pay attention to Fabregas, or now have to pay attention to Moses. They can't all close down Hazard if they've also got other players to watch. So that would be my only issue with... Well, actually, it's not even an issue with Hazard. It's just the players around him. He had a great game today. Didn't do a whole lot wrong. Maybe a couple times could have put in a bit more of a, challenge after he lost it, because you can still see at times his tendency to, I lost the ball, he gets frustrated and just sort of stops. I want to see more out of him to win the ball back and push forward. And then Costa, like I said, probably should have been sent off for a dive for the second yellow. And my frustration with him, I love what he's doing. He's working hard for the team, scored 2 goals in 2 games. He's really working very hard. But this is the second game in a row that you've gotten a yellow card for dissent. How can you not change that? If I'm Conte, I'm saying, look, this new rule is in place. If you get a yellow card for dissent, you're on the bench the next game. I can't deal with that from you. I can't deal with the fact that you might end up getting sent off because of some stupid decision. You need to cut that out of your game. And I haven't seen anything to suggest that that's happening. Now, maybe Conte sees that after this game and says, okay, this is 2 games in a row. That's got to cut it out. But I don't understand. From my point of view, I'm looking at it thinking, this is the second game in a row where you've put yourself in a dangerous position to possibly get sent off. Now, I personally don't think. I personally think that the challenge on Adrian, I thought he had a good enough chance for the ball to go for it. He had a similar one today, just not as dangerous. Capu poked the ball away, and as Costa swinged to hit the shot, and he ends up catching Capu's leg and kicking the crap out of him. It's a iffy situation because he's got the right to go for the ball. If it's there, he's about to take the shot, somebody pokes it away, yeah, he's going to catch the guy. It's going to happen. But the dive, the fact that he's putting himself in these situations and not pulling out of the challenge when he's on a yellow, makes me think he doesn't really understand this is a dangerous situation. This is a dangerous thing to put yourself into. Why are you going to do that? Why would you do that to yourself? So it's just kind of frustrating to see him doing that and just not really thinking about it. Not really thinking, okay, this is a dangerous challenge, I shouldn't do this, or I'm on a yellow, I should just go into the defender and then maybe fall over instead of just straight flopping. It's bizarre to me. Anyway, second half substitutions. Moses came on for Pedro, did much better because I think because he's played in the Premier League for so much longer than Pedro, I think he's got more strength. He kind of does what Hazard does, but not as fluid. Like Hazard, whenever he dribbles, it feels like the ball just moves with him. With Moses, it feels like it's cut, but he still beats the defender. And he made one really good run, cut it back across, almost made it to Hazard, who unfortunately mishit the shot. But he does good stuff whenever he's on the field. He works hard for the team. I'd much rather see him out there than Pedro right now. So hopefully that happens. Michy came on for Oscar, so went two strikers up top and got himself a goal. Works really hard. I'd love to see more out of him. I'd love to see more time for him to play because he's really doing a lot in the time that he's been given. 5 minutes in the West Ham game. Today he only got like a little over 10 minutes. He's already got an assist and a goal and almost had 2 goals today. So it's just kind of a question of why is he not getting the chance to play alongside Costa? Because I just feel like that dynamic works so well. And then the final change was Fabregas, and like I said, I really want to know what he did because once again, what I've seen from him today is just so... It's exactly what I expect out of him. It's exactly what I saw from him 2 years ago when he came in and he and Costa took the Premier League by storm. He just puts in his challenge at the right time and then finds that perfect ball over the defense. Costa's there, runs onto it, boom, goal. I mean, it's just so simple, and he makes it seem so simple too. I don't know how to describe it, but it was a challenge that he was putting in constantly during the preseason as well. He finds this moment where the passing has been going on, somebody maybe makes a little bit of a weak pass, and all of a sudden steps in and wins it, and now he's starting the counterattack. And Conte is doing it as well, but not as effective at starting the counterattack. Like Fabregas picks it up, looks for that killer through ball, whereas N'Golo Kante, he'll pick it up and maybe, run with it a little bit, maybe find a simple pass. But, sorry. That's the main difference, I think, and why it's nice to have N'Golo Kante and Fabregas in that midfield, because they both do well at stepping in to win that weak pass, but it's a little bit different whenever you expect that through ball or the simple pass. So it was very good to see. Fabregas did well, and it was a great assist. So overall, from the team perspective, I would say that my main frustration today was that it felt like they were trying to do too much. Some of the passes were they were too complex. It should have been more simple. It wasn't quick enough. It felt like there were times whenever they were dribbling too much, like Oscar and Pedro and Matic, all three lost the ball way too many times after dribbling too much. So I just want to see them moving the ball a bit more. That's what I expect whenever I watch a Chelsea game. I expect them to move the ball well, make the ball do the work, not the players. Hazard's the only one that I really expect to do a whole lot of dribbling, and it's because he knows how to do it. He does it well. Everybody else, I expect them to move the ball. Oscar, whenever he's in, I don't expect him to dribble. I expect him to do quick passes. Fabregas, whenever he's in, I don't expect to do quick passes. I expect to do one long pass, and that's the main difference. And Oscar wasn't doing that today. So it felt like a strange game overall. It felt like they were told to hold possession more, or like, I don't know, play around with it more. I don't know what was going on, but it just felt different than what I've been seeing in preseason and in the game last Monday. So it's strange, but in the end, it's a win. It's a good result. Now we're unfortunately we're still giving up goals, but at the very least, we are winning games. That's good to see. It's good to see that we have the fight and desire to get back into the game. 10 minutes left in the game, get 2 goals, and win it. That's the type of stuff that I expect to see, especially if we want to try to challenge for the title this year. So, overall, good result. Some disappointing performances. Hopefully, Conte will take all of this into view and sort of look at it and say, okay, we need to make changes here and here and here. And we'll see maybe a slightly different lineup next game. So, see what happens. But those are my thoughts on the game. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What changes would you like to see made in the team? Who would you expect to see more of and less of? And what were your thoughts on today's game overall? Let me know. We can discuss it. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I will see you at the next game. Peace out.